Archer, codename Duchess. Known from Berlin to Bangkok as the world's most dangerous spy. So for us, this is, how you say, a good get. But not so good for you, Mr. Archer. Because you have information that I want. And this may be old cliché, but we have ways of making you talk.
Welcome to End Gimmicks, where storytelling isn't just entertainment, it's an obsession. We deep dive into the worlds, the characters, and the chaos that makes stories unforgettable across TV, film, animation, and beyond. If you love peeling back the layers and seeing what makes stories tick, you're in the right place. Like the video if you're into that kind of thing. Comment your thoughts below. I definitely want to hear what you see in these stories. And do please subscribe if you want more deep dives without the gimmicks. Haha, that was bad. Alright, let's get into it. Before Archer became a meme machine, a cult classic, and a masterclass in weaponized sarcasm, it was just a pilot episode called Mole Hunt. And oh boy, it didn't just dip its toes in dysfunction. It cannonballed in, drank half the pool, and hit on the lifeguard. We meet Sterling Archer, the world's most dangerous man-child. He's being tortured by his own agency, not because he's a spy, no, because his mom/boss wants to test if he'll crack. Spoiler alert, he doesn't. Instead, he mocks the interrogator, breaks out for fun, and ends up pantsless in a hallway. This is just a foreplay.
Or maybe I never get promoted.
And never will.
Because my mommy's not the boss.
And maybe you just got your face kicked off. That is my foot in your face. Smell the embarrassment. Ah, no! Mother, did you see that? Mother! In your life, and then you... Lana! Hey, what does this smell like?
Like the dysfunctional asshole I broke up with 6 months ago?
Then there's Lana, Archer's ex, Cyril's current girlfriend, and the only person in this building with somewhat of a moral compass for now. Even if she's constantly spinning in confusion, she's not just a badass. She's a badass surrounded by men who are either in love with her, terrified of her, or both. Usually both.
Exactly, you're not Archer. That's what's so great about you. That and the fact that your mother died in a fire.
What?
I said, where are we on that stir fry?
And presiding over this dysfunctional daycare for adults is Mallory Archer. Think Miranda Priestley. If she were a Cold War spy, drank like Hemingway, and emotionally blackmailed her own son for sport. Which she does. Constantly.
ISIS isn't your own personal travel agency. It doesn't exist just so you can jet off to... Island.
That's not a real place.
I have 50 agents who literally killed to move up to your position. And if you don't square your operations account by Monday, they won't need to. Your position will be vacant. Sterling?
Sorry, I was picturing Island.
Have I made myself clear?
You're looking for the answer yes?
Yes.
Then yes.
Good. Then get out. And for God's sake, take a shower.
Oh, and who could forget the rest of the team? We've got Cheryl, whose hobbies include glue and chaos, surprisingly. Pam, the HR rep who can beat you in an arm wrestle and a street fight. And Krieger, who shouldn't be allowed near a computer. Or a lab. Or probably people as well.
Lana! Hey, I know I'm supposed to be up my own now, but... Oh, is that what you want?
Yup.
Because that's how you get ants!
Yay!
Episode 1 is basically a thesis statement wrapped in vodka and bullet casings. It's messy, unapologetic, and already laying the groundwork for a show that's less about espionage and more about explosive personalities in tight quarters. Which, if you think about it, is kind of espionage.
Too bad you'll never see it.
What the? Oh, hiya! Lana, Crenshaw's a mole, and his name's not really Crenshaw, it's Kremensky. Because you're baby crazy!
You want to see crazy?
No, I've seen that movie, and spoiler alert, it ends with a closet full of my suits on fire!
I wish you'd been wearing one.
Who would want to wear an on-fire suit?
Cosplay enthusiasts.
Why are there donuts everywhere?
Lana did that.
Do you want ants? Because that's how you get ants.
What Mole Hunt does, as episode 1 brilliantly, is this. It doesn't waste time. It slaps you across the face with every personality in the room and dares you to keep up. And just when you think you've figured out who the grown-up is, it turns out there isn't one. So let's talk about what this wild introduction sets in motion. Because season 1 isn't just about spies. It's about power, jealousy, identity, and why you should never, ever leave a toaster in the break room.
That was totally ninja!
Il est incroyable, non?
Yeah, if you're into that.
Lana? Hun? Hello?
Hey. What's up, buddy?
Nothing.
Oh dear.
We move on to Cyril wanting to impress Lana. Lana, however, wants to prove to herself that she doesn't care about Archer anymore. Archer wants to prove that he's still the alpha. And what we get is a triangle of jealousy so unstable that it might actually qualify as a chemical weapon. Moving on, Lana is stuck in a mental tug of war where she hates the fact that Archer still has this hold over her. However, she hates herself more for even feeling a certain type of way about Archer at this point. So she takes it out on Archer and on poor delusional Cyril, who thinks doing a few sit-ups might actually fix this dynamic.
Weapon!
Oh, hey, hon.
Hey, back.
Hello.
What's this?
Well, see, here's the thing.
Under no circumstance is Lana to know about our little plan.
Here's
okay.
what thing.
Archer's DD-14.
Yeah.
That we're on our way down to clear up with Jane.
Really?
Well, you know, scatterbrain Jane.
And you're cooking dinner later?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yep.
Spear gun?
Oh, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah, dunce. Now Jane's a loose end.
Hey, Jane. You getting a snack?
Meanwhile, Mallory is hungover, ranting about Russian nannies and possibly allergic to honesty. Her maternal instincts are as strong as her gin, and her completely unprovoked parenting monologue might be the saddest thing you'll hear someone say while recovering from a rash.
I am not. What? Because I don't want Sterling to end up with a woman like Lana Kane? My God, a black ops field agent?
Thought she was going in a whole other direction with that.
Because let me tell you, I was black ops, and that does not for a young boy a very Merry Christmas make.
Ajax, a success. Tehran is ours. Stop. Merry Xmas from Mommy and Uncle Kermit. Stop. Also, be nicer to Woodhouse. Stop.
You made up that last part, didn't you?
I did, sir.
Douche.
Pam and Cheryl, absolute chaos gremlins. Give them 5 minutes and something sharp, and suddenly a medical emergency becomes brunch entertainment.
Second. How you doing, Miss Archer?
I am good.
Okay, try...
Real good.
Okay, try guest.
Well, that's just idiot. Oh my God.
I know, right? So here, let's make the copay 0 and
Okay.
the deductible...
Super high, right?
No, low. You want the lowest deductible.
But don't you deduct it on your taxes or something?
Wow.
So you want more?
And people think Jane's stupid.
Speaking of, it's probably better if Jane was the last one to log in.
And because Archer has the emotional maturity of a spoiled jaguar, he uses this whole training excuse to humiliate Cyril. It's not about mentoring, it's about dominance. Cyril, he's just collateral damage in Archer's ego war. What Training Day shows us is that beneath the snark and slapstick, these characters are built to undermine each other. And that's not an accident. It's by design. Everyone's playing defense, but the game never ends.
Cyril, you're the one who killed a perfectly good...
by accident. We could explain.
To who, Cyril? The cops? Lana?
She'd never forgive me.
Duh.
Archer, my life is ruined.
And all because Mother cooked up this stupid plan
but
to make you an agent just to impress Lana. Ironic, isn't it?
I'm not sure that's technically irony.
What? This is like O. Henry and Alanis Morissette had a baby and named it this exact situation.
No.
You lied to me.
Did not learn anything.
Well, you shot a machine gun at me.
Around you. Because my feelings were hurt.
Well-
Why on earth would you lie to me?
I just wanted to show you I could be a super cool ISIS field agent like Archer,
But baby, don't you know I like you so much because you're exactly the opposite of Archer.
If there's one thing Sterling Archer does better than espionage, it's ruining other people's missions. Doesn't matter whose, doesn't matter why, if someone else is about to succeed, Sterling will show up shirt half open, drink in hand to ruin it. And somehow, he actually kind of looks cool doing it.
How in the world did his cover get blown?
Haha, gracias, amigo. Y viva la madre. Perdóname, señores. Hola.
Talk to these chicks, all right? Tell them how we're really ISIS agents. They don't believe me. Hello, Senor Wingman.
Enter Conway Stern, spy, charmer, and immediate threat to Archer's fragile sense of superiority. Conway's introduction is like dropping a fox into a room full of slightly drunk, highly armed chickens, and suddenly everyone's feathers are ruffled.
So join me in welcoming our new ISIS agent.
Stern. Conway Stern.
He's a diversity double whammy.
Meanwhile, Cheryl, or should I say, Cristal like the champagne, bless her deranged little heart, decides now is the best time to introduce her bizarre rope kink to the world. What starts as a workplace harassment quickly spirals into a Craigslist nightmare that HR, aka Pam, is somehow fine with?
Cyril, I need a little favor.
Okay, Karine. Oh, now it's Crystal?
Crystal. You know, like the champagne. It's what hot black guys drink.
You sure about that?
And I want Conway to drink me, so I need you to hook a sister up.
Well, I will certainly try.
Don't try. Do. And here, use this.
Oh, wow, what is this?
Tell Conway that his secret Santa wants to come early.
All the while, Lana's radar is already blipping. She knows something's off with Conway. But is it spy instinct? Or is it jealousy that Archer's actually intimidated by someone for once? Either way, she's onto him. And also, a little into him? Which is exactly the problem.
Who is this guy?
I don't know, but I got a bad feeling about Mother's little Project Conway.
So, I must be having a stroke because we actually agree on something.
Wait, really?
Totally. I mean, he shows up out of nowhere and starts trying to get all up in everything. I mean, Salsa, Frodo.
Possibly Mother.
And what do we even know about him?
Well, Conway turns out to be a con, and Lana tries to warn Mallory, who of course is too busy worrying about PR optics to care. So she takes matters into her own hands. Either way, this episode ends with betrayal, guns down, backstabbed, and Conway escaping while Archer blames everyone but himself. And through it all, Cheryl is just vibing. In a rope noose, probably planning her next psychotic break like it's a spa weekend.
Conway?
Yeah, buddy.
Are there more bad guys behind me?
Nope.
You.
Episode 4 throws us into a deep end of spy world politics. A UN official, Utney, walks into ISIS to discuss funding. Seems simple enough. Until you remember, this is ISIS, a workplace that throws champagne parties before lunch and has a panic room with monogrammed martini glasses.
Torvald Utney,
The Olympic shot putter?
the chairman of the UN Intelligence Committee. His party is different and very important, so absolutely nothing can go wrong.
Well, then we better keep Dr. Bellows away from Jeannie.
No dates.
From my dream of Jeannie.
No one is bringing a date, so don't you bring a date.
Mallory's got one goal: land his contract and keep the lights on. But instead of using strategy, logic, or literally anyone competent. She decides to seduce Utney herself, because Mallory Archer doesn't just play the game, she drinks it under the table.
Oh, I need a painkiller, not a...
Torvald.
What is that, a calcium supplement?
Trust me, dear, these work wonders.
Okay, but what I have seen, Isis is a distant second to Odin. Very distant.
Well, what about the groundbreaking work Dr. Krieger is doing for ISIS in our Applied Research Division?
But this episode also introduces something else. Espionage rivalry. Odin. Think of Odin as the Apple to ISIS's bootleg Android. Clean offices, elite agents, no ferrets in the break room, and most importantly, they want Utney, which turns this dinner meeting into a power play with bullets and backstabbings. Not only that, but we're also introduced to the head of the KGB and Mallory's lover, Nikolai Jakov, which reveals Mallory's history isn't just complicated, it's radioactive. Her control over ISIS is rooted in secrets, manipulation, and a Rolodex full of dictators and lovers, and that the Cold War is still very warm between the sheets.
Odin will find it much harder to bribe a dead man for the UN contract. And I will find it much more enjoyable to work with the woman who runs ISIS.
What do you mean with?
Against, obviously. Duh.
Obviously.
Enter the assassins. You'd think paid killers would be more discreet. These two, nope. They take double payment, one from the side of Mallory, and another from the head of the KGB himself, Nikolai Jakov, where they promise Mallory that they would only be attempting the assassination. However, they intend to fully carry out the assassination as per the command of the head of the KGB. However, their relationship is pure chaos, half baby talk and half sabotage. Somehow, they still pull off the hit.
Manny, I have a bad feeling for this.
Why? Only I will have real bullets. This is taking chocolate from a baby.
Oh no, we won't give our baby chocolate.
Oh.
He can have carob.
Utney, poor guy doesn't know how out of place he is with Mallory's full court press of cocktails, flattery, and awkward touches, like a dove wandering into a hawk's nest filled with vodka and unresolved trauma. Archer, of course, is told to behave, which is code for cause a disaster, where he brings in a date when told clearly not to, who further turns out to be a backup assassin from the side of the KGB.
ISIS clearly is not the agency for us, as also am I. So if you will excuse
There,
me...
there. Let that calcium citrate seep into your bones.
What about... No, she's not passable. With that Adam's apple, she looks like she swallowed a Rubik's Cube.
Excuse me, sir. You are looking for a date?
Are you working?
You could say that, yes.
The night devolves into bullets, broken glass, and betrayal, where the assassins make their move, get their target, and luckily escape. However, Archer's date and Utney himself were not so lucky. So it begins, with scandal. Mallory Archer, head of ISIS and champion of cold martinis, finds herself blackmailed. The leverage? Photos of her in bed with none other than Nikolai Jakov, head of the KGB, which, if you're keeping track, means Mallory's libido is now a potential threat to two global superpowers. Their relationship is more than messy. It's geopolitical dynamite. If this gets out, the fallout could hit ISIS, the KGB, and ignite an international scandal that makes the Cold War feel like a lukewarm disagreement. Meanwhile, we meet Ray Gillette, ISIS's resident bomb tech, and instantly one of the most competent people in the entire building. He's sharp, flamboyant, and can defuse a bomb while calling Archer out on his nonsense. He also quickly becomes the show's stealth MVP. Mallory naturally decides to fight blackmail with blackmail. Enter Archer, recruited to seduce the suspected blackmailer. And of course, he's thrilled, because if there's one thing Archer needs more than booze, it's to be desired. To him, espionage is just foreplay. The target? Ramon Limon, a stylish, sharp, and deeply unimpressed Cuban intelligence agent. From the jump, Ramon sees right through Archer. The flirtation, the ego, the mission, he clocks it all. And yet, rather than reject him outright, he plays along. And honestly, They kind of click.
No comienzas, eh? Sí, mamá, estoy buscando una novia.
I have ascertained the target, sir.
Ramon isn't just a mark, he's a mirror. He reflects everything Archer doesn't want to admit about himself, that he's insecure, performative, and constantly trying to prove he's desirable. But instead of exploiting it, Ramon builds a strange sort of rapport. It's part flirtation, part chess match. And Archer, he starts spiraling. This was supposed to be an easy seduction, but now he's in way over his head with a man who isn't just immune to his charm, but also knows the game better than he does. In the middle of assassination attempts and confusion, a real bond starts to form. Not romantic, but respectful. Archer might be arrogant and shallow, but for once, he's up against someone who sees the cracks and doesn't exploit them.
Oh, you should meet my mother. She...
No, shut up. Listen, my mother...
Ay,
oh my
Dios
God,
mío,
that's
it's
her.
Viva la revolución de los hijos!
I can't believe we hung up on them.
However, the blackmail crisis ends not with brilliance, but with blind luck and awkward tension. Mallory dodges a bullet, Archer walks away thinking he nailed it, and Ramon, he fades into the background like a pro.
Oh, Ramon! Was that not totally epic?
See, Sterling, because you live to tell the tale.
No, because my mother's condo got trashed. God, she's gonna freak when... Wait, where's Charles and Rudy?
I think they must have escaped, however implausible that may seem.
That does seem implausible.